Oh, good afternoon and welcome. Whew. Commanding officers, current, Captain Pearson, previous, Captain Bedrell Barron, Captain Morrow, Captain Martin, Captain Vernier, Captain Stiles, and Captain McKenzie, my sister from another mother. That's been a long-standing joke that we've had. To my awesome, awesome family, thank you for all you did to get here. And to my fabulous friends, the same, traveling from Italy and all the four corners of the earth, or this nation. Colleagues and shipmates. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today out of your very busy lives. I know that that can be very challenging. I am extremely honored and humbled to see you all here. I want to give a special thank you to our color guard, the outstanding color guard, our national anthem vocalist and dear friend, Carrie, the working party, and ceremony participants. Today would absolutely not be possible without you. There are other family members who actually are not here today that I do want to mention. One in particular is my cousin, Lieutenant Commander John Holmes. He is a foreign area officer who is currently deployed to Pakistan, standing the watch and keeping our nation safe. So we do miss John today. And thank you, Jen, you had already done this. I just do want to give one more shout out to my nephew. I'm so proud of him for making it from California. He is actually on pre-deployment leave and newly promoted, as you heard, Corporal Caleb Sipp. So thank you, Caleb, for being here. Oh, I didn't want to do this. Many of you know that. Today is very bittersweet. And I actually cannot believe it's been 30 years. I'm not really sure this is happening yet. I had told some of you I've been to so many retirements over the last 30 years here. It's like, yeah, today is my day to retire. And we are very excited. We are very excited to begin the next chapter in our life. It is bittersweet as we're missing our fathers and our dear daughter, but as has been said, they are here in spirit. How did I get here? As I was thinking back, what am I going to say today? I was like, how did I get into the Navy? And I actually had an aunt who planted that seed. She says, Shelley, have you ever thought about joining the Navy? She was a nurse herself, and I was like, oh, I'd never get into the Navy. And she knew my work environment wasn't the best at the time. And about that time, my uncle, who was an active duty P-3 pilot at the time, walked out and said, what are you telling her to do? And she said, well, I think she should look at being a Navy nurse. He said, you have no idea what you're talking about. Those nurses eat their young. I was hoping that would get a chuckle. Obviously, I did. I'm not too sure that she wasn't the one that called the recruiter. I do not recall filling a card out, but I got a phone call. They offered me a recruiting trip. Believe it or not, the recruiting trip was down here to Pensacola, to the O Club down the street, and then they took us to McGuire's, for those of you who are familiar with McGuire's. It was a ball. They told me it would be fun and an adventure, so I said, sure, sign me up. Didn't see that one last in 30 years. And I got home, and Pat's already told you, good old Midwest girl. My dad served in the National Guard in the 60s and wasn't sure how he was going to take that. So I tell my mom. She thinks this is a grand idea. And her words of wisdom, good luck telling your dad. Well, I did. And you would have to be a farm kid and know what this means, but know my dad. He didn't have a whole lot to say. I think the silence must have gone on for 2 hours, which I think was really 2 minutes, when I told him, Dad, I've decided I'm going to join the Navy. What do you think about that? And his words were, who's going to catch the corn for me? My Midwest friends get that. So, he was very supportive. He a little bit always skeptical when your daughter's going to join the service, but my preference of duty stations, one of them was Naval Hospital Beaufort, and my dad took me on a trip out there so that I could check out Beaufort, South Carolina. Turns out, I didn't get what was on my list. I also wanted to be on the ship or a flight nurse, and the detailer said, Yeah, good luck with that. Take a number. So does everybody else. But my first duty station was Charleston, South Carolina. And what a great place to start your career. I checked in July, and in September we had a Category 4 Hurricane Hugo. First hurricane to come ashore in years. That was great. Then in December, we had the first snowstorm they'd had in 25 years. Even better. Welcome to the Navy. But most importantly, that's where I met the love of my life. So I will forever hold Charleston near and dear to my heart. And it had to be love, because from there, I had to take orders to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. But that would turned out to be a great duty station. I had the privilege of meeting Captain Sandy Hearn, a very dear friend, and we had some good times, and she provided a great deal of support. It's also where I learned that just because a senior officer offers you an opportunity doesn't mean it's an option to say no. I might have been a lieutenant, but I had a lot to learn. So between Camp Lejeune and my next tour, again, I was following my husband down here to Pensacola. I learned to be flexible and meet the needs of the Navy. And I think between those two duty stations, I had 9 different jobs and learned the phrase, bloom where you're planted. But I also gained a whole lot of invaluable experiences that really started to shape my career. But as most of us do, when we get to that 9-10 year mark, we start to think, oh, do I want to stay? Do I want to go? Obviously I stayed, and that saw me going off to Sigonella, Sicily, where I met Commander Taylor, as you have heard. But what a fabulous opportunity to live overseas. There aren't many jobs that offer that. And I had the opportunity to spend Thanksgiving in Budapest, thanks to Captain Chris Aveline, who pushed me there. I don't think too many people can say they've been in Budapest during Thanksgiving. If you do go, though, do know they do tend to celebrate our American holidays, so we ended up eating turkey. As I said, this is where I met Pat, and most of you know that Greg and I have been geographically separated for the majority of my 30 years. So Pat felt sorry, I'm sorry, no she didn't. Pat really liked hanging out with me. She never felt sorry for me. And both she and Todd. So as you've heard already, we had a lot of great times. She and Todd took great care of me. And I think because of her, I had an opportunity to experience a great deal of Europe that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Yes, that is where I learned to love wine. We had a lot of Friday night dinners at different restaurants, trying different foods. We went to a lot of different festivals. And you didn't mention them all, so I think I will. I know we at least saw Sicily, Italy, France, Monte Carlo, Spain, Germany, and I'll stop there because we did actually work too. But she also got me into a few other opportunities that you don't have much chance to do stateside, but overseas, like refereeing men's basketball. Yeah. And kids soccer. And I'm talking refereeing, folks. Have you ever done men's basketball? I have a whole new appreciation for being a referee. And I'm talking the black and white striped shirt, the official whistle, and not an option. And then there was the poster presentation that she talked me into giving at the AMSIS conference in Las Vegas. Have you ever tried, this is the 90s, drag a poster presentation? We didn't have all that great technology. On an airplane overseas. That was not a good time, but we did have a good time in Vegas. But let me get back on track. Pat, your friendship has been an absolute blessing. You have always been there. Like when that call comes in at 2 a.m. and you fly across the country to be with me just because life got tough. Thanks, Gal Pal. By the way, I have not completely forgiven you for moving to the West Coast. So the Navy is great. They then sent me to graduate school in Chicago, near my home, 2 hours. So I'm in my 30s, and I decided my last semester of Chicago, I'm moving home. People are like, why would you move home? Well, graduate school was great, but when you live at home with Mom and she cooks and does your laundry, it's even better. Thanks, Mom. Next, I went on to Portsmouth. This is where I was promoted to commander by my dad and my husband. So Portsmouth holds a lot of fond memories for me, and life was good. but not smooth sailing. We did have a couple catastrophic events there, catastrophic. One was my husband's accident, but at times like this, you find out what it really means to have a Navy family, and we truly did. Because I was in Portsmouth and he was here in Defuniak Springs, and that's where his accident happened. So he ended up being life flighted down here to Sacred Heart. What's key to this too is that was 1 week post Hurricane Ivan, so the Big Bay Bridge, if any of you came across it, was out. And that was very, very challenging. I had great leadership in Portsmouth, and I had great support down here. Carla Bester, I know you're here today, and you are our absolute angel. Carla got us the air ambulance we needed back to Portsmouth so that my husband could be with me to be taken care of. For that, we will always remember you. Thank you. Not to worry, I'm not going to go through every duty station because we don't have enough time to be here and you don't want to hear it. So, I wish I did have time to recognize each and every one of you and how you specifically played a role in my career. We would be here way too long. I do want to give you a few highlights. One of them was as the officer in charge of the NATSE clinic right here on NASP. First most challenging job I think I had in the Navy, and I had some great senior enlisted leaders there, Master Chief Acuff, Senior Chief Lockhart. Thank you. I don't think I would have made it without the two of you. Then as the Director of Nursing Services and Senior Nurse Executive at Naval Hospital Jacksonville. And I can tell you that a couple of the ladies, Amy and May, were instrumental in that position. And I absolutely enjoyed being able to work with the young nurses, all the nurses in those positions. And then on deployment to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I've also had the privilege to work with a lot of great leaders. I'm only going to be recognizing a few of them today. And one of them is my MC extraordinaire, and she just got even better with those glasses of wine. Mary Alice, you are a fabulous CO. I spent 20 years trying to deploy, and you got the job done against all odds, and there were a lot of odds and hoops she had to jump through for me to go on deployment. And for that, I thank you. Truly, I thank you. And I thank you for your support during that deployment, very much so, and for getting me here today, and I am honored to call you friend. And I forgive you for not wearing your uniform. Captain Bedward Barron, presiding officer extraordinaire, and another fabulous CO. Actually, I have a story for you on her before I get to the good parts. Now that she's told the story about Gitmo, I'm not too sure it wasn't payback. So, it gets a little bit cold here in December, but some people think we still need to go outside for colors. It was 20 degrees outside. But I'm from the Midwest, and I am a prepared officer. So I had my t-shirt under my uniform with my wool sweater and my lined Eisenhower jacket and my gloves. And I headed out to colors. On the way out, I was told that we all had to be in uniform. I said, well, you all are out of uniform because we all need gloves in 20-degree weather. I am so grateful that there were visitors at Colors that day that I did not get called out front and center because I got told about it later. I still wore my gloves every time she took us out there. I think she was just trying to prepare me to go back to Tennessee, to go to Tennessee. In all seriousness, you were great support to me on deployment, even before you were my CO. I had to make a couple of tough phone calls to her, and she was there. Even though I had not met her, she completely supported me in the mission. And for that, I thank you. You continued to support me once you were my CO, and I was in Pensacola, and then assisted in my transition to Jacksonville. You supported and mentored me there. As you know, it was a little bit challenging, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. It will never be forgotten. I also appreciate that you informed your assistants over there to take good care of me, and Vicki and Dahlia took exceptional care of me. They follow orders very well. Thank you for the wonderful opportunities you gave me, and also for getting me to this day. Captain Mike Rainier. I'm talking to you. Are you awake over there? And I just want to say I'm really proud of him. He's one of my retirees who actually is in his uniform. Thank you. Along with Captain Hurd and Commander Taylor. I finally got to meet the legendary Mike Rainier in Jacksonville. He was my XO, and I have to tell you, that was a great experience. But Mike, I'm going to tell you, your mentorship and support mean more to me than you'll ever know, because times did get tough, and I appreciate it. And I will take your reference any day. Captain Nicole Polinsky, you didn't think you were going to get left out, did you? No. I could not have chosen a better AD&S when I was in Jacksonville. Thanks for sticking with me through the tough times, but who in the heck thought it was going to get tougher? You were always there, and I appreciate your support. The QM team is very lucky to have you, and you're getting a fabulous QM team. They will take good care of you as well. Who knew when we worked together right there on the 6th deck here in Pensacola back in the 90s that we'd be back here at the end for both of us. And I really look forward to you being my neighbor, our neighbor in Tennessee as well. Thank you for your friendship and support. So, I've already said I can't believe it's been 30 years. It's been a great career. I love being a Navy nurse. It's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, real challenging, and a few times thought about getting out because of the geographical separations only. But I love being a Navy nurse. It is truly an honor and a privilege to care for the men and women who wear the cloth of our nation and care for them and their families, all who are serving. And just as a bonus, we get to train, guide, mentor, and lead our junior nurses and corpsmen. For those who don't know, our corpsmen are the first line of medical support for our sailors and Marines, soldiers and airmen on the battlefield. And I don't know of any other organization that takes an 18-year-old high school graduate and says, you're gonna be a hospital corpsman and you're gonna save the lives of those you fight with. It is an honor to care for them and to train for them to care for our comrades in arms, and that is what kept me in, truly, the great young people I had the privilege to serve with. But now it's time to turn it over and move on. And as you've already heard in the military, we cannot do what we do and get where we are without the support and love of our families, friends, and shipmates. Lieutenant Commander Leahy, Lieutenant Brown, Lieutenant Howe, Lieutenant Q, Lieutenant Allman, Lieutenant DeHart, Lieutenant Miller, Lieutenant J.G. Van, Lieutenant J.G. Reyes, Ensign McClinton, HM1 Ellis, HM1 Beebe, and all the other junior nurses and sailors. It has truly been a pleasure to serve with all of you. You are our future Navy leaders, and I thank you all for all you have taught me and the trust that you have given me. To all of my family, thank you for your support and encouragement. It came in many different ways. To my brothers, Tim and Toby, and their wonderful families. Brothers, you are the best. If I make a phone call to you, your question is, what can I do for you? You have always been there. Thank you. Channing, you've put up with a lot of absence and a lot of other stuff. Thank you for taking the time to be here, and we look forward to spending more time with you. Mom, you and Dad raised me well. Sometimes the Navy looked easy. You knew I had to say that. Seriously, you gave me a strong foundation of values and work ethic. You've always been my best friend and my biggest cheerleader. My success is your success. I love you and thank you for all your support, guidance, and love. Okay, husband. You are the love of my life. Okay, I'm gonna do this. And best friend. And we made it. The question is, are we gonna make it? That's really the question. Because now we're gonna be living together. So, yeah, we're gonna make it. They've got lots of resources out there, counseling, chaplains, we're gonna make it. Seriously, I'm just kidding. You are amazing in so many ways. You served honorably for 24 years, and then you retired and took care of the home, a business, a couple other businesses, our mamas, and supported me in absolutely every way for the last 28 years. You did everything so that I didn't have to worry or have any stress in my life. You're one of a kind. I thank you for your service to your country and to me. And I'm so excited for our next adventures and to live with you. I love you. So the final tour, Naval Hospital, Pensacola. Once again, this was not the job I had asked for when I came to Pensacola, but that's the Navy way. You meet the needs of the Navy. Quality management was never on my radar. Turns out I absolutely love it. Bloom where you're planted. So I found what I finally want to do when I grow up. So now that I've hit 30 years, I guess I've grown up. So what's next? You've already heard we're taking an adventure and we've already have a house and moved to Tennessee, so we're living one foot in each place, and we'll just kind of see where life takes us. I'm really looking forward to working at the VA and continue to serve the veterans who have served this great nation. So I thank you all again today for being here. I wish you all safe travels. May God bless you. May God bless the Navy. May God bless the United States of America. Go Navy.